What's good, y'all? It's Pod.cannion. I am here with a lyric breakdown. As y'all can see, I'm in the back cooking and shit. But I just had to break down this song. Oh, I am doing a video.
Oh.
Yeah, so the camera's right there. Let me close the door, actually. Yeah. Obviously, as you can see by the title, we're breaking down Well Done. I think that this is probably, well, I can't even lie. You know that Earl Sweatshirt's songs are like not only layered, but it's been ever since some rap songs. Um, it's simple on the surface, but every single word, every single sentence, um, has a surface meaning and then a layer meaning, if that makes sense. Um, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna break down these lyrics bar by bar. Uh, you know, I am a small channel to where like I could just play the full song because the song's only a minute and 11 seconds. Um, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play it in parts, um, and then like with each bar, like literally each bar, I'm gonna break it down. Um, so yeah, with this song, I'm trying to think of anything else I could add to this song. Honestly, I'm gonna just go through the notes that I have. This is like when I've done like the Doom breakdowns, I've looked at Genius, but with this breakdown, you're gonna get some interpretations that aren't even on Genius because I've looked at the Genius breakdowns, and just because this is a relatively new song, I don't feel like it was fleshed out a lot. So I'm gonna take a couple of risks here, and what I'm saying, try to interpret how I interpret the track. Um, so yeah, I think this song is beautiful. You know what I'm saying? Um, it's like I said, it's full of layered metaphors, and uh, he likes to have like a bunch of cryptic internal reflections. Um, and like me being an Earl Sweatshirt artist, I see like a couple of the things that like he's alluding to, or it just like matches up in my head, and I'll explain those as I go. So we'll start off with the first few bars. So the song's themes, like obviously the whole project has its each themes, but the overall message of it is maximizing, what I'm saying, the capability to live your best life, and what I'm saying, to the best of your capability. Um, so with the deep, not even deep struggles, but just deep personal journey that Earl Sweatshirt has gone through, like just sharing throughout his music. This tape means a lot to these type of people. Seeing like someone who looked like they were so helplessly um, in depression due to their own thoughts, their own like, ooh, like even like a person like Earl Sweatshirt, I see him as someone who's burdened with knowledge, because dude is extremely smart. Like all his lyrics are, on the surface, they seem like they're simple, but like I said, they're layered. They have metaphors. They have internalized meanings in them. You know what I'm saying? Internal reflections that you can apply to your life, but he is also applying to his in real time. So that's my yap. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna get into this, um, and yeah. So let me play the first. You know what I'm saying? First little things. So. Bells rung, send a mail up out of the sky, home that I fell from. Bail us out of bond, mask over my eyes just like a welder. Tailspin out of bonds, baptized in the fires of flaw and failure. I tried to tell you, you never gonna get a rise out of a real one. Okay, so we gonna break that part down quick. So, ooh, Like, bro, just me thinking about this shit. This shit is just so crazy, bro. So bells rung, send the mail up high to the sky, home that I fell from. So a signal, which is the bells, uh, can mark a dramatic transition, and the home that I fell from suggests a loss of innocence, a fall from grace, or a break from a protective past. If you've listened to the song, I think it's E. coli off of the Alchemist record. Uh, one genius connection that they made is when he said, "I wasn't born." His mom snatched him off a stork on a Friday. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when I said every bar is layered, that's what I'm talking about. Like that's four different meanings just off of one sentence. And it's like every single line is like this off the whole album. But just this song alone, at least I really relate to. So, yeah, bail us out of bond, mask over my eyes just like a welder. So obviously, when you think of bail us out, it refers to freedom from trouble, or a contract, because you can get bailed out of a contract as well. So bail us out of bond. You know what I'm saying? Bond is also something you get when you're getting bailed out. But also, a bond is also something you have with certain people. And sometimes those bonds don't work. So when you get bailed out of a bond, you have to cut yourself off from certain people. And that's when it goes to the next line. Mask over my eyes just like a welder. So bail us out is the freedom from trouble. And the welder's mask is a powerful image of protection, focus, and necessary blindness. He has to shield himself from the blinding light / heat of his work or environment to see clearly, which is what welders do. Like obviously, if you try to look with your welding mask just regularly, it's going to be really hard to see shit. But with like really high pressured metal melting, which is practically what they're doing, there's this bright light that will blind you if you don't have your welding mask on. So it's almost like I need this protection, whatever your protection that you see it as, in order to do important work. You know what I'm saying? And do it the right way without having lasting damage to you and, you know what I'm saying, your mental state after the job is complete. Like, oh my gosh, like this shit is crazy. So, and he didn't just escape. When you tailspin out of binds, it's almost like you barely made it out. Like when you tailspin, you've tailspun in a whip before, you was spinning and you don't know what you was about to hit. But he got out of that bind and he was forged by his struggles and his mistakes. When he was, because he says, baptized in the fires of flaw and failures. So his mistakes are the flaw and the failures. And with baptism, it's a significant transforming you as a person. You know what I'm saying? You're no longer this, you are now within Christ. So he's pretty much saying, like, with this, his mistakes served as a baptism. So his mistakes transformed him rather than destroying him, which leads into the next line. You never gonna get a rise out of a real one. I think I stopped right there. Let me make sure.
Tough like rise.
Yeah, so you never gonna get a rise out of a real one. And I'll break that down with the next few.
Tough like Ryan Spelt.
Heavyweight tide is on the belt, son. So, once again, that's one sentence, but we gonna break that shit down. So obviously, you never gonna get a rise out of a real one. And he said, tough like rye or spelt. Orion-sized heavyweight titles on the belt, son. So this is a flex almost. You know what I'm saying? Rye or spelt, these are like really tough pieces of bread. So he's saying he's tough like, you know what I'm saying? If you know that type of bread, it's hard and like it's not soft. So he's tough like practically expired bread almost. And when you, just the imagery with that is interesting to me. And Orion-sized titles on the belt. Pretty much the overall thing, he's still a real one, tough like Ryer's belt. And the Orion-sized titles, first, if you know what the Orion constellation is, it's this. He's like, it's this big circle. So he's saying the titles on his belt are massive. You know what I'm saying? Beyond, he feels like he is making change that is way beyond just the earth, way beyond like what we can see with our naked eye almost. You know what I'm saying? And then Sun saying like, y'all haven't, like he's pretty much saying like he's the big dog here and y'all are just the little ones. That's why he's saying like, y'all, you ain't never gonna get a rise out of a real one. You know what I'm saying? It's a link to his permanent, massive presence, just like the Orion constellation. You know what I'm saying? And these are signifying his massive, lasting achievements. And I think the last line I said was, flying on the wide eye of the maelstrom, wild side that I hail from. Pretty much, he thrives in chaos. So if you're on the wide eye of the maelstrom, wild side that I hail from. So he's not afraid of the deep, volatile parts of his own nature, the wild side. But also him just flying in the wide eye. So he's like, he still thrives not only in chaos, because the maelstrom is practically a hurricane. So he's saying he's thriving in the eye of the hurricane. So even with all this chaos around him, he thrives peacefully. It doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Which is, yeah. So we're going to get into this next little bit. Yeah, we gonna play this.
Flying and on the wide eye of the maelstrom, plaza that I hail from. See, you ain't moved in a while. Ain't gonna lie, you probably should get your sails up. Time will tell who the hell won. Promise I don't know who assailed ya. Bear cubs. Voila, they probably do it for breadcrumbs. Provided shelter.
Dug well enough to find us some kind of wealth. All right, because now we gonna break all that down. I had to play that little bit, you know what I'm saying? But okay. So, Earl shifts the focus a little bit by observing those around him, contrasting his hustle with their complacency. And this is also just a cool little tidbit too. Everything is a little bit layered. The first thing you see, like, I see you ain't moved in a while, ain't gonna lie, you probably should get your sales up, talking about money and shit, but also it's a double on that. The C, like as in the C, you ain't moved in a while, ain't gonna lie, you probably should get your sales up. Like the sales on a, you know what I'm saying, on a boat. Because a boat, certain boats, as long as it's, you know what I'm saying, a motorboat or something, not a motorboat or something, like a regular ship, if you don't have your sails up, you're not moving anywhere. And that's just the facts. Getting some tobacco. And then, time will tell who the hell won. Promise, I don't know who assailed ya. So this is a detached, almost uncaring perspective. He's focusing on his own successes. Time will tell who the hell won. You know what I'm saying? That's up to time, which is something that's out of his control. And he is accepting that. And, you know, he was like, I don't know who assailed ya. So he's like, he's dismissive to their complaints or excuses. It's not his problem. You know what I'm saying? And bear cubs headhunt voila, they probably do it for breadcrumbs, providing shelter. This is the danger he sees. People chasing low stake rewards, breadcrumbs, and the bear cubs, I see it as YNs, young people, um, headhunt for breadcrumbs, headhunt for low stakes rewards that could actually like sacrifice their integrity just to maintain basic survival. So at a one on one standpoint, some of them are doing this obviously for like no reason, but there are also people who are taking that risk just because of their position. And he sees both sides of it. You know what I'm saying? Um, they're minor hunters. So like these are small-minded people compared to his own cosmic struggle. Now, we're gonna get to the last bit. I gotta mix up this food a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Get right on that aspect. And season this joint. But y'all, just off of that alone, like 16 minutes, I've only explained, well, I'm not going to say only because we're more than halfway done, but that's 49 seconds. He said all of that in 49 seconds in the most simplest way possible. And that's why I like layered raps, because it's like you can say what you need to say with, you know what I'm saying, without over explaining yourself. The people who need to hear it are going to understand, you know? So we're going to get to the last one. So this is the things that we've established with these first few parts is one, he addresses like stagnation. He addresses like coming back from failure. You know what I'm saying? And realizing as long as he relies on himself, he'll be all right. So now you're getting the cost of self-reliance and wealth from the stuff that he has amassed, you know? So, ooh, I love this part. I can't lie to y'all. I love this part. Because I understood exactly what he was saying. But just in case there are any other interpretations I might have missed, I want to make sure I get this right. So, we're going to listen to the last little bit, and then I'll explain like some off stuff. Running through myself, gum boots. The bottom started to melt some. I felt stuck. Still cut wide before the shield love. Spill blood. We'll play the sample too.
Responsibility towards the congregation, towards the gods.
Ooh. Yeah, I'm gonna have some fun explaining that. But boom. So I'll start here, you know what I'm saying? Dug well enough to find us some kind of wealth. So it addresses the hard work and self-exposition required to gain true wealth. Dug well enough to find us some kind of wealth, mining through myself. You know what I'm saying? The wealth he seeks isn't just money. It's self-knowledge and artistic material. He had to look inward, mining through myself, to find his treasure, suggesting a difficult, intense psychological process. And gumboots, the bottom started to melt some. I felt stuck. The harsh reality of the process, even with the right gear, because gumboots are literally meant when you're like in ditches. These are supposed to pretty much when you're sifting through trash, they're supposed to keep you from sinking. You know what I'm saying? So if the bottom melts a little bit on your gumshoes, obviously because he's in a high pressure environment, as yeah, as he's addressed in these previous lines, The bottom started to melt some. I felt stuck. The harsh reality of the process, even with the right gear, the pressure and heat of digging deep made him feel vulnerable and trapped. So, Earl Sweatshirt really is vulnerable on the tracks. And when you work on yourself, you have to bring certain parts of yourself out. So he felt like, at least the way that I looked at it, is a little bit like that, but I also seen it as a way as once you start this process and you actually start to see change when you're working on yourself, there's no going back. You know what I'm saying? You like there's never going to be a perfect version of you. You'll always be working on yourself. And it's your perspective that matters if you're stuck in your position or not. Because everybody, in a sense, is working on themselves, even if they really aren't. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that line is heavy on whoever listens to that line is really going to be based off of their perspective, how they take that line. You know what I'm saying? Like, they could see it as, okay, this process of getting better, it never ends. Or they can see it as, like he said, I felt stuck. It doesn't mean he was stuck, but he felt stuck. And that's how he was in the process of working on himself. He felt like this was a never-ending process that wasn't going to get him anywhere. And when you change that perspective, once you actually realize the process of working through yourself, which kind of I do, that's what makes me understand that line. But I understand that if I seen that line or heard that line probably 3 years ago, I would have had a different interpretation than I do right now. So all of that shit is crazy. And steel cut knives showing the shield love, spill blood. Now, this is like protective measures, like the shield, are always clear, but the struggle is real, you know what I'm saying? So the steel cut knives could represent his sharp lyrics or necessary internal struggle that leads to truth. So I'm seeing that with this line, or at least their interpretation of it. Let me make sure I'm not missing it up. Showing the shield love. Okay, steel cut knives showing the shield love, spill blood. So the protective measures, steel cut knives, are going against the shield, which means he is actively getting attacked, all in the process of working himself. But he has protection, and the protection is being put to good use. You know what I'm saying? Now, when he says spill blood, they're going to see this as, you know what I'm saying, necessary internal struggle that leads to truth. I'm going to make another connection that a lot of y'all probably put together, or maybe not, I don't know. But the song The Mint, in the last part, he says, lot of blood to let, peace to make, fuck a check. Essentially saying he's doing this for his own, just like this song says, just like the purpose of this song. Like, this is for him. This is for his own internal peace. You know what I'm saying? He has a lot to let out that he's been holding in, and this is to make peace. It's not about money for him. A lot of blood to let, peace to make, fuck a check. So, in this one, when he ends the verse by saying spill blood, you know what I'm saying? Let me make sure there's any other ones, because we're at the pretty much end. So, yeah. So spill blood doesn't essentially mean violence, even though he's actively getting attacked. You know, steel knives showing the shield love, obviously getting thrown at the shield, but the shield is still protecting. Spill blood. Bless you. Doesn't mean violence. It means sacrifice, emotional honesty, and self-extraction. Just like with the imagery of bloodletting, you are the one causing yourself to bleed, to let out whatever. Obviously, that was a bad medical practice, but it's the imagery that means shit. So, Lot of blood to let, peace to make, fuck a check. What's up?
I look like Tea Party right now. But survey says, where's the cone? That double-sided cone is that?
The double-sided
Like,
cone.
it's like, not double-sided, but like, it's a detangling cone.
That should be disappearing like every 3 days. Might have to pop back up later.
I know I've seen it, but I can't remember where it's at. I think it's on the floor here.
It's probably on the floor somewhere. That would be my guess.
I know I've seen it.
I lost the comb. Let me see, because I got lost a little bit. Yeah, pretty much bloodletting. It's a bad medical practice. Doesn't get used anymore, but their idea was if you bleed enough, you're essentially letting out the disease as well with your blood. So his own way of like, self-healing in a way. So, this shit is crazy, I'm not gonna lie. So, sacrifice, emotional honesty, and self-extraction. To spill blood is to bleed your deepest, truest self onto the page or into the microphone. It's the price of the artistic wealth. He's mining through himself, mining through myself. You know what I'm saying? This ties his pain to his peace. You know what I'm saying? His it's just crazy. It's just crazy. But I need to not get too distracted because I'm thinking too much in my head. I could be saying this shit out loud. The last sample, he says, you know what I'm saying? Not him, but the last part, what am I trying to say? The sample at the end of the fucking song, right? I feel like this has a meaning too. Because, well, it has a different meaning than what I think. And I got a couple of meanings from this just based on my own experience. But I'm trying to frame it in the way that Earl might have tried to frame it. Because the good thing about Earl is you'll hear his verses, and that's kind of the thing. You'll get his own interpretation, but you'll also get your own throughout your own personal life. At least I feel like it is. So.
Spill blood.
From this action, we see the priest's responsibility towards the congregation, but towards the gods.
Ooh. Da da da. Okay. But yeah, like if y'all want me to do another Earl Sweatshirt song that's longer than a minute, you know this video. This is a minute-long song, and I'm taking this long to explain like every meaning to y'all, because this shit is layered, and like all his songs are like this. But okay, let's see here. Because boom. From this action, we see the priest's responsibility towards the congregation as towards the gods. So, like, I'm not gonna lie, nobody had anything for genius on this at all. But I really feel like the sample, like obviously the samples that Earl Sweatshirt puts in songs, they all mean something. So, the priest and the congregation, this is my interpretation of what the sample is. So, with Earl's intent, you know what I'm saying, the priest's responsibility, who claims, the priest is pretty much the artist, obviously, in this thing. So, the way that Earl Sweatshirt has used his art to essentially not only voice his own like concern, but then show in real time how he was still able to transform all that grief, all that like feeling of hopelessness, and then show that like even I was able to get out of that. You are sharing your testimony. You're a real life example that you can get out of that shit no matter how deep you were in it. So there's a couple of ways I'm trying to go about this the right way. But pretty much his self-expression is a form of altruism by example. When he achieves something solely for himself, like with this record, he unknowingly provides validation and shelter for someone else. That is truly beautiful. You know what I'm saying? And by being honest about his struggle, he provides a spiritual service to his congregation, showing them that they aren't alone. You know what I'm saying? Now, obviously, I could go off the deep end, but I'm not going to do that this video, y'all. We already 30 minutes in explaining a 1-minute song. So, to sum it up, this is pretty much a track about, you know what I'm saying, getting out of it. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like this song was specifically made for the people who are out of it now. That's why it's called Well Done. I feel everything he's talking about with this track, even though he's not saying it like explicitly. And then I'm simultaneously going down memory lane of the stuff that I went through based off of this track. I think little stuff like that is beautiful. And I just had to talk about it because that song has been stuck in my head. Y'all already know, if y'all want more like breakdowns or whatever, y'all know what to do. Like that video, subscribe if you're new, because all we do is chill over here. I have some reactions coming up later in the week. I'm going to be watching a lot of Ace Vane, Trey Rags. Y'all want Beck the Schizo? Y'all got to make these videos do good. You know what I'm saying? Chill and watch them with me. Get that algorithm. Because we the small channel. Like, I don't really be having like pressure for y'all to like watch stuff. But like, just know if you sit there and watch like half the video, you is going crazy. You is helping the algorithm. You is helping me out. I appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much the breakdown of that. If y'all like the video, like it, subscribe if you're new. All we do is chill over here. With that being said, y'all be great. Y'all be safe. Keep on getting to that bag. And I'm going to catch y'all in the next video. Peace.